Hello, and welcome to day 205. It's good to see you. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about the Leo video that we watched, maybe a little bit about the last 2 weeks worth of Leo videos, and we're going to be looking at NTI John, and we're going to be looking ahead. Mainly what I want to do is talk about the fog and the shadow teaching, which is really what Leo's video this past week was about. He talked about not seeing things as they are, right? Seeing things through our projection. Let me start by reading a little bit from this book, Perfect, Brilliant Stillness Beyond the Individual Self by David Karst. I want to read something to you that David put in. I think it's chapter 23. Yeah, chapter 23, section 2. Listen to this. Get in an airplane in Oklahoma. Fly straight south. What do you fly over? If you answer Texas, I have news for you. There is no such thing as Texas. If you look down while flying south, you will not see any such thing as Texas. You will see what is there: arid desert, farmland, mountains, rivers, roads, cities. Texas is only an idea. It exists only as an agreed upon conceptual construct. There is nothing real about the border between Texas and Oklahoma, and you will not see it if you fly over it. The delineation, the distinction, the decision to call this bit of land Texas and a few feet over here to call it Oklahoma exists only in the mind as a thought construct. The separation into distinct separate entities is a layer added in thought only. This distinction, this naming, this separation, these things as separate entities do not exist except as ideas. So Texas and Oklahoma, those are just ideas. And that's true of everything that we see, which is the point that Leo was making, right? I could remember he talked about this. I could say, this is me and my daughter Jasmine when she was about 6 years old, right? But as Leo pointed out, this isn't me and my daughter Jasmine. This is a piece of photo paper, with some colored ink on it in a frame. I notice the picture needs to be maybe reframed here, but see, it's not me and my daughter Jasmine, right? So we have these concepts that we apply to everything. And the concepts that we apply to everything, those are actually projections. We say, this is my phone, right? This is my phone. Oh, there's my daughter Jasmine, more recently, and my dog Ellie, right? No, right? All concepts, even the idea of my, as if I have some kind of ownership to this, is a concept. And this is really what NTI John is trying to show us. NTI John is trying to show us that everything is the light or life or the essence that we could call God. But we don't see everything as that one thing. We see what the Tao Te Ching calls 10,000 things, right? We look around and we see a lot of different things that have a lot of different names, some of which we think are important, some of which we think are unimportant, some things we like, some things we don't like, all judgments, all concepts. This is our fog and shadow. And in fact, let me read to you from NTI John, starting at the end of NTI John chapter 11. So why is it that you cannot see the light if the light is everywhere, even now shining brightly for you to see? It is because you have focused your eyes on something else, a fog and a shadow. It is the fog and the shadow that you insist must hold all truth. And so it is the fog and the shadow that you focus on and try to protect. I'm going to skip over into NTI John chapter 12. Each one may choose to see his fog and his shadow, but his fog and his shadow are but a mistaken gift he has given to himself. It is given to no one else. It is his alone. And what this really means is that each of us are conditioned, our brains are conditioned a little differently. So each of us sees the world in a completely unique way. But interestingly, most people have the concept that their way of seeing is right. And if somebody else doesn't agree with their way of seeing, then those other people are wrong. But in reality, we're each just seeing our projections, which come from our conditioning, right? We're seeing our fog, our shadow, and in effect, we're all wrong. Robert Adams said that all points of view are wrong. The way to see that is a truthful way to see is to see the light in all things. And so if the fog and shadow, as they seem to exist only for you, the fog and the shadow cannot be truth, for the truth must be true for all. The fog and the shadow that you have chosen to see is your fog and shadow, which you may keep. But as you choose to keep it, you choose to keep a wish, and you choose not to welcome the light that is before you now. So what is that wish, right? One way we could state that wish is to be a me, a distinct and separate entity, rather than to be consciousness, or rather than to be the light. When we get to NTI Romans chapter 2, we're going to see that consciousness, or the light itself, had a wish. And that wish was to experience things different than they are. So instead of experiencing oneness, one essence, we experience many things, right? And I am one of those many things. And my fog and my shadow are there to keep a definition of me in place. Another one of the things that we saw this week, let me see if I can find that in NTI John quickly. Oh, yes. What do I want, right? If you choose to lay your experience aside and choose the experience of welcoming the light, you must choose to lay your secret wish aside as completely undesired, and you must choose to welcome the light as all that you want to know and be. The question that you must ask yourself, and that you must continue to ask yourself, and the question that you must hold firmly within your mind is this: what do I want? What is it that I truly, within the depths of my heart, seek as my only experience? Do I seek the changeless truth of all that is? Is that what I would know? Or would I rather have my own kingdom, which is my own individualistic way of seeing the world, rather than know that I am king, that I am the essence, that I am the light? This week, I happened to have done a teaching on this topic. I was doing it from Perfect Brilliant Stillness by David Kars. It's an hour-long teaching. So if you want to, this is not a part of the 500 days homework, but if you want to, you could go and listen to that teaching, get a little deeper into what I'm sharing briefly here. And again, it's a little deeper into what Leo was talking about this past weekend when we watched his video. But 2 weeks ago, we watched a video from Leo where he was really attempting to open our mind. And that video was somewhat like a meditation where you closed your eyes and you listened to him, and you kind of saw how some of the things that you experience in life are not true. For example, it's not true that the sun rises and sets, right? Instead, what's happening is that the sun is stable and the world is both rotating and moving around the sun, right? So I remember he went through several things like that to try and show us that what we perceive, what we think without questioning, even though we know better, the way our language is set up, right? Because the language says the sun rises and the sun sets, that all of this is a part of the illusion and not representative of truth. And what he really wanted to do in that video was to help to open our minds, because if I am saying this is a phone, right? This is a phone. This is not only a phone, this is my phone. But then I'm not seeing what else might be here. I had an experience once when I went to China with Jasmine when she was around age 10. We were in Shanghai in a hotel room. And I got up early that morning and went into the restroom, washed my hands. And then I reached for the hand towel, which was on this round towel ring. I reached for the hand towel to dry my hands. And when I reached for the hand towel, I somehow realized the essence of God in the hand towel. There was this love that is indescribable that was coming at me from the hand towel. And as I dried my hands and placed the towel back, I just felt this enormous love and even gratitude. It was love, gratitude put together, gratitude for being, gratitude for interacting, because the towel rack, of course, interacted with me as I dried my hands. Then I left the room, the bathroom, and I went into the main part of the hotel, and I turned on Chinese MTV and I started dancing. And I felt that same love, that same essence coming from the floor. It seemed gratitude, grateful to hold me as I danced. That's the day that I realized that what we perceive as inanimate objects are still the living essence of God. Let me share my screen again. I'm going to go to YouTube. If you search in YouTube for Regina Dawn Akers, actually two things have popped up right here. One is called Apple, and one is called Everything is Love. Each of those videos are very, very brief. The story that I just now told you is from the Everything is Love. Notice that's 2 minutes and 22 seconds. And if we go to the Apple video, that is 2 minutes and 48 seconds, right? So you can go and listen to both of these to see the types of things that NTI John is trying to open our minds to, the types of things that Leo was trying to open our minds to. And basically, we do have a choice. We can continue to insist that our fog and our shadow is the truth, that the way I see things, what I say those things are, what I believe about those things, that that's the truth. Or we can begin to lay all of that down, enter into the I don't know mind, and see what grace shows us, what's really there beyond our fog and our shadow. So NTI John says, within your mind is a universe you have made. This universe is a concept, right? Just like Texas, the thought of Texas is a concept. This universe is a concept made of concepts, made to block the light. It is through this universe of which you believe that you deny that which is true. But the universe you have made is not truth. It is a block over truth, intended to hide the truth from you, so you may pretend the universe is truth and the universe defines all that you are, right? So instead of seeing ourselves as consciousness or as the light, we choose to see ourselves as a person in the world. And all of these concepts that we project onto everything keeps all of that in place. It is a block over the truth, intended to hide the truth from you so that you may pretend the universe is truth and the universe defines all that you are. In this wish, you are limited by your wish. And so your own wish hides the truth of what you are. Your own wish hides the truth of what you are. Let go of the universe you have made, right? We got to begin to question our thoughts. Am I sure about what this is? Is it possible that this is something other than anything that I would define it as? Something other than healthy or unhealthy, good or bad? Something other than a Diet Dr. Pepper? Something other than a plastic bottle? Something other than a polluting device, right? Plastic can be defined as a polluting device. Is it possible that everything I think about this is wrong and that that's my fog and my shadow and that really there's something else here? Let go of the universe you have made. It is nothing of reality. It is only a joke that you have made of yourself and for yourself. However, you are not finding it to be funny. So why do you hold on to your joke? It also says, you must trust the words that come from my mouth, because they are the words that are written upon your heart. Trust your heart, and in trusting your heart, you trust me also. For we are the same, and we are all things, and we are the truth, and the truth is written upon us as a witness to all the world. The light is our glory, and the light is us, and within us, and we are within the light. For the light is inseparable from us, and us from each other, and we are inseparable from the light. It is all things and in all things, and all things are in it. This is the truth you try to hide, but this is the light that must not be hidden, because it is the light that cannot be hidden, and so it does not hide. So this week we're going to continue to read from NTI John. We're going to continue to contemplate NTI John each day as we have been. And we're going to spend a lot of time this week looking at our upsets, looking at the things that trigger us. Of course, we can only be triggered by our fog and our shadow. We can only be triggered by what we are projecting on to what we see and what we experience. But we're going to spend some time this week looking at our upsets. And of course, we'll continue our being meditation. So that's it for today. And I will see you again next week. Bye.